Hello Spartans and welcome back to Blade and Sorcery. Today we're going through 5 tricks and tips and whatnot that I think could probably help you to become a better player in Blade and Sorcery. So let's just get straight into it. So I would say the first tip you really need to know is knowing your weak points on your enemies. Now obviously everyone knows to the face is a kill, right? That should be obvious. Enemy's dead. That's easy. So you really want to aim for the head if you want to kill, but that really depends on what you want to do. If you're fighting multiple people and you don't think you can get to the head straight away, and maybe they're blocking with a shield, you want to go for the legs, try and disable, cut the legs off, you know? And the more you hit the legs, the more likely they are to go down, and now he's dead. And if you have the mod that allows you to have survivable dismemberment, he's not standing back up, so that's great as well. So don't forget, focus on the parts you think are going to be the most useful. As well as that, enemies have weak points in the fact that you can disarm them. Now if I give this guy a little push so he gets a little angry, hopefully he pulls his weapon out, here we go. And what you can actually do is if you either grab the weapon or their wrist and hit the wrist, the weapon will come out. And then you can use their own weapon against them, which is fantastic. So keep an eye out for opportunities like that where you can grab the weapon and finish them off. Moving on to the next one. Okay, and the next one I would say is probably just practicing your blocking. Your blocking is so important. So if we spawn an enemy and we just practice where the attacks come from, I would say don't kill the enemy and just kind of learn where attacks come from. Now you'll notice that enemies in U11, they tend to have more of a reaction based thing. So if you counter an enemy or hit their sword, they have a decent chance of attacking again like that. And then you can go start practicing parrying, going for your own counter attacks. Now he's become a one-handed enemy, so this is going to be a lot easier to counter. And you just need to practice blocking and countering. Once you get the hang of that, honestly it's going to be pretty tough for you to die because you'll have memorized the way enemies attack. Not to mention it's pretty easy to kill enemies anyway. But if you really want to look good while playing the game, that's what I'd go for, is just practicing your counters. Now, I found the best way to practice counters is just keep your sword like this and go for either side to side. And it tends to work most of the time. You will get a block off with that if the enemy's not advancing too much. The animations are still janky as hell for this. So you can either go for 3 different ways of blocking. There is your standard blocking like this, there's your up, across, and to the right. And they all have their own value. Top, and that would have been a side block, so you just got to get faster with it. And once you get the hang of it, enemies are not going to hit you at all. Moving on to the next one. My next piece of advice would honestly be to use your environment, right? So if you've got an enemy, let's say we have a nice guy right here, right? And we don't want to alert them too badly if you're in a dungeon. Well, any kind of surface where you see sharp edges like this can be climbed. Most people do know this, but most people don't know that it is incredibly easy to climb anything in this game. And if you really want to go for it, you can. You can just climb any surface, get height advantage, and now you're out of their view, and then you can just kill them. That easy. Honestly, that easy. And using your environment has many other advantages. If, say, an enemy was going to attack me and I'm low on health, I can jump and grab. And now I'm out of his reach. I can jump up again, and then from here I have an advantage, so I can just jump and execute. And it's that easy. Alright, moving on to our next tip. Okay, so my next tip would be to use Slowmo sparingly and effectively. Now what do I mean by that? What I mean by that is, if you're in a dungeon or you're in a tough room, don't just go into Slowmo and do the whole room. It's not going to happen, you're going to run out, and then if you run out when you've got too many enemies, you're going to get crowded, and you might die, because you just can't go in Slowmo. Now, by using it effectively, what I mean is you want to fight multiple enemies, but only really use it when you think you need to, you know? Like if you think you can get one enemy down without it, kind of use it when they're coming in for attacks. So you guarantee get that counter. And there you go. And that's kind of how you want to use it. You don't want to drain all your slow-mo really fast. And that goes for mana as well, you know. You don't want to be draining your mana to the point where you can't use it anymore because your fireballs run out. You want to use it effectively. So, if you're fighting an enemy and you have your sword out, you know, don't be tempted to just spam fireballs because you might need it for the next guy. So I would go for a hit, then a fireball. More effective, you've done some damage, the fireball's going to kill, and then you still have mana left for the next dude. Now, effective ways to recover mana and focus I've found is parrying recovers focus really fast. So if you're countering enemy attacks in the way that I showed you, which is up, left, side, standard, then that should hopefully recover your slow-mo and your focus pretty fast. Now, if you want to recover mana, I think it's a mix of parrying and killing, from what I've gathered, so really take that as you will. Mana will recover over time anyway, but killing recovers it faster. So if you really want to be effective mage, killing with magic doesn't do it, you have to kill with a weapon. So really, battle mages are the best way to go for this, and yeah, I think we'll move on to our final tip. And my final tip is going to be for all those people who say they cannot two-hand weapons effectively. Now, two-handed weapons are possibly my favourite kind of weapon in the game. I really do enjoy them, apart from obviously sabers being my favourite. Anyone who watches the channel for a long time knows that sabers are my favourite, but two-handed weapons is easy. Now, what I see people do is to say they can't swing it properly, because what they're doing is using their front wrist to swing as if it's a one-handed weapon and not really moving their backhand, and that's not how you do it. If you really want to do it properly, hold your controllers one on top of the other, even put them together if you need to, and depending on how close your hands are, you want to be swinging it in real life like a real sword. Honestly, like, don't treat this like a game. If you really want to get the most out of your weapon, treat it like a real sword and you will seriously feel the difference. You can put way more power behind it, way more accuracy, and you get way bigger swings. Now, when it comes to two-handed weapons, blocking and countering is a little different. So it's more about up and round, like that. Bear in mind I have no dismemberment mods on. Just want to make that very clear before anyone puts anything in the comments. The only mods I have is the helmet pack and medieval mega pack, and that's all I have on, including the NPC spawner spell. Like I said, let's show that against a real counter, and this is how you would two-handed counter. So you keep your weapon in front of you, ready. Block, slash. So you want to kind of bring the block in, and then when they bounce, carry it across. And you can do that many other ways. So you can block upwards and slash downwards. And we'll try and do that right now in slow-mo, just to kind of give you an example. But this is a good, effective way of parrying. And there you go. And that's a disarm. And yes, you can one-hand the longsword, and many two-handed weapons if you need to, and bring it back into the other hand for a stronger return hit. Anyway, I think that does it for our last tip. Alright Spartans, well I really hope you learned something from today's video. It's been a shorter video, I know, but I feel like short but sweet is where we needed to go with this. So hopefully some new players learn some new stuff, hopefully some older players learn better ways to counter, and overall I hope this helped. Anyway guys, let me know what you want to see in the next video. See you guys later, in a bit.